The Obama administration is facing a third scandalous accusation. It reportedly spied on Associated Press reporters just months before the 2012 presidential election. And here to uncover the gory details about this is my good friend and talk radio show host himself, Rick Amato. You can find him on Twitter at Amato Talk. Welcome to the Dr. Gina Show, Rick Amato.
Gina, Dr. Gina, I should say, always a humble pleasure to be with you.
Humble. Funny you would use those words. You and I have had a lot of fun calling out each other's diva behaviors on Facebook and other places. And so I have a nickname for you that is Diva Motto, which I think is actually brilliant in my humility. I think that nickname Diva Motto that I did create myself is actually brilliant. But, you know, I'm going to have to get any kind of arrogance in check right now, Rick, because I'm starting to detect a pattern with this president who's like the most arrogant president, I think, of all time, and he's fallen hard now. How about this?
Yeah, I think arrogance is a good choice of words. Gina, I was listening to your commentary before I came on a moment ago, and you're right. Scandal is sort of the byword of the day. It's interesting. The narrative on Benghazi has been that there's no there there. The narrative on the IRS targeting Tea Party conservative groups from Obama has been mistakes were made. Notice he didn't take ownership. More like a 4-year-old child who doesn't take responsibility. He uses the passive tense and says mistakes were made. I've heard, unless there's a news story that I've missed, I've not yet heard the response from the administration on the AP scandal where they were targeting journalists. It will be very interesting to see how they try to spin arrogance number 3.
Absolutely that. Now, we know that in a press conference just before we came on air today, Carney was late to it, but apparently Holder is recusing himself as the investigator of this, obviously, since the DOJ is responsible for at least accusedly responsible for this. The AP said the Justice Department secretly seized 2 months of reporters and editors' telephone records without explanation. How could they? I mean, as someone who's done this sort of work your entire life, at least your adult life, how can you even fathom the idea, it's beyond arrogance, really, don't you think, Rick, for the government to come in and seize a reporter's data? I just, yeah. And it makes you wonder how many more of these mountains there are to uncover, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I don't want to be cliche-ish here, but typically where there's smoke, there's fire. Right. Where you see something, there's more, and that's the point you're making. Yeah, how much more is there out there? He may say there's no there on Benghazi, but we certainly found a that's there with targeting of the journalist. And again, we keep using the word arrogant. I don't know, Gina. It went through my mind too. Is it that government officials at the highest of level believe in their own
headlines?
Yeah. They believe that they're infallible so much that they're above everything and will never be caught. I mean, that's the only mindset I can imagine that someone would take this huge risk and step forward on. It is amazing.
You know, it is. And this is interesting because you and I have always sort of had one of those strange relationships, honestly, in broadcasting where we've sort of said, hey, I'm going to cover your back, but by cover your back, I think what you and I mean, and we've talked about this quite in detail, is I'm going to hold you accountable. For not becoming one of those people who listens to their yes men, because you do, no matter how public your life, you do tend to surround yourself with people that their job is to think you're great, to write great things about you, to say great things about you, and this is, of course, just magnified when we're talking about national level politicians, all of them, by the way, no matter how much we like them, Michelle Bachmann, any of the rest of them.
By the way, Gina, have I told you how great you are yet today?
But I agree with your point, Gina. It cuts both ways, Republican and Democrat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying that people, like Michelle Bachmann or anyone necessarily acts on the lies they're told every day about how great they are. But I am saying they're all surrounded with these people, and it's something that they can fall prey to.
Yeah, exactly. And that's you're the is it psychiatrist or psychiatrist, right?
Just, psychobabbler really fits best.
So you would have a professional insight on that. But that's my my layman's take on it. The other thing that's interesting here, Gina, is as we said, we're waiting for the Obama administration to give their take on their spin on this AP story. Hey, what about their brethren in the liberal mainstream media?
Yeah.
Why aren't you know what I'm saying? Why aren't they angry?
Yes.
And in an uproar over this because it's they who were targeted.
Yeah, well, it makes the whole thing makes you wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. And I hate to say it, but the reality is we might never know the whole truth. We might never know the whole truth about Benghazi. There are so many gag orders, you can't even sift through them. We might never know the truth about the situation with the IRS and the Patriot groups. But, they're going to continue to deny. And the fact of the matter is, I forget who said it, but there is a quote out there that the best lie to tell is the biggest lie you possibly can, because for some reason, human psychology wants to believe the biggest lies. So whatever they come up with as the cover-up is guaranteed to be the biggest lie of all of these, don't you think?
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So you're saying that psychologically, the biggest lie is the one we tend to accept, huh?
Isn't that crazy? But yeah, it's the small lies with the details that the human psyche tends to question, at least. And it's the big lies that people go, wow, well, that's such a big lie. That's such a big shocker that it can't be a lie. That's kind of what we do with that in our mind. We go, it can't be a lie because it would just be too crazy for it to be a lie. And so, those are the ones we accept as truth.
It almost sounds like saying that the riots and the attacks were the result of a YouTube video. That's a pretty big lie.
Pretty big lie, exactly, and a great point. Have you heard any updates as far as, because I couldn't see the whole press conference, have you heard anything regarding this situation with the AP? Has there been a reason for the seizure of this information, or have they revealed whether a judge or a grand jury signed off on those subpoenas?
I haven't seen that information yet, Gina. I've actually been in meetings all morning. So the latest stories I have is that the AP chief executive has said that this is unprecedented and unwarranted, and he seems stunned at the whole occurrence. I mean, those, not to be redundant here, but to your listeners there, let those words sink in. I mean, unprecedented and massive and unprecedented were the exact words from the AP chief. Those are strong words. And when he says unprecedented, he means in terms of intrusion into a media newsroom.
But this is what he's going to do. Almost for sure, I can tell you. The cover-up is going to go something like this. Well, it was necessary for national security. There was gonna be some big, a foreign terrorist attack if we didn't subpoena those. Right? We were trying to prevent. So then, will the psyche of the low information voter then, Rick, just say, "Well, we understand." Then, I mean, we've already forfeited so many of our liberties. Why not this one?
Gina, I think you make a chilling and excellent point. Because one of the reporters who was targeted was someone who broke a story regarding one of our targets in the Middle East. So now I think if you start connecting the dots, this probably does get spun as a national security story. I can almost hear Barack Obama in his voice in front of the TV cameras saying he's just trying to protect the welfare and the well-being and the security of the American people. And we can hear we can see the low information voter going along with them. I would only hope, about a year or two ago, I was under the misbelief that the mainstream media created the narrative, but the alternative media owned the narrative after it was created.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer believe that. I think the mainstream media still creates and owns a large part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only hopeful that if it comes to be what you suggested, and I think you're right on, if it comes to be what you suggested, I hope that the mainstream media says, no, man, we're not having any more of this BS. You've now targeted us, and we're not going to let you get away with your narrative.
Backing up to the story that broke yesterday, I can't keep the scandals straight, Rick.
Yeah.
Between the golfing and the vacation and the scandals, there's just so much to talk about with this president. The story from yesterday regarding the Tea Party Patriot Group, IRS situation. Your group is called grassrootscitizen.com. I'm just wondering if you think you could have been a target, or if you think you might be in danger of being a target.
It's possible. It's possible. I'm not going to go into detail right now, but I'll only say it's possible. I've had some communication from those folks in D.C. recently.
Wow.
And
yeah, I'm hearing that from everyone. Literally every group I know. If you have the word 912 in your name, if you have the word patriot, constitution, let alone Tea Party, like that's, but grassroots was probably your dangerous word in there, because grassroots citizens, the federal government is very unfond. I think I just made up a new word for the dictionary, but unfond of grassroots citizens, and that's the name of your group. So I just wondered. Well, Rick, I appreciate so much what you do. You take a really honest, hard look at what folks on both sides of the aisle are doing. You've always been that, and a good friend of the Dr. Gina Show, so we appreciate you. Your organization, grassrootscitizen.com. Also, you can find him on Twitter at Amato Talk, but I think you should go get that domain, Diva Amato, right now, because I think I think your future is there, Rick.
Only Dr. Gina Loudon can get away with calling me Diva Amato.
All right, my friend. You take care, and we'll be in touch soon. Appreciate you coming on the show and talking this over with us today.
All right, Dr. Gina, always a pleasure.
All right, thanks.